We'll begin, though, with that group of 10 Republican senators who will meet with President Biden at the White House today to discuss their counteroffer to his nearly $2 trillion economic relief proposal. The group of mostly moderate senators outlined their proposal in a letter to the president yesterday, requesting a meeting. The Republican outreach is an attempt to prevent Democrats from using the process of reconciliation to push through Biden's proposal without any Republican support. The $600 billion counteroffer is less than a third of what the president is proposing. It includes $160 billion for vaccines, $4 billion for health and substance abuse services, the continuation of current unemployment and unspecified targeted economic assistance, and help for schools. It does not mention Democrats' priorities like state and local aid. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has already pushed back, telling the New York Daily News, quote, they should negotiate with us, not a make it or take it or leave it offer. Now, Casey, what's happening here? Because obviously there's a lot that needs to be rectified in terms of response to COVID, and President Biden seems to be covering that, you know, from soup to nuts on trying to get the train back on the tracks or on the tracks in the first place. But are they trying to put in too much of sort of Biden's agenda in this bill?
That's the question here, Mika. And of course, Biden, big picture, comes into office and has to grapple with more crises than perhaps any other president in the last century. And they tried, I think, their goal by putting out a bill this big was to try and address as many of those problems up front as possible. But it's left Republicans looking at it and saying, is a $15 minimum wage really part of an emergency relief package? It's more like a policy Democrats have been pushing for many years. And they're saying, look, if you actually want to do this bipartisanship that you have pitched during your campaign, we need to have a different kind of conversation. So I think that's going to be the question today. And just how Biden's doing this, having them down to the White House, is different than what we saw with President Trump. The question is, how is Biden going to interact with them? And then how does he balance the demands of the progressives in his caucus in the Senate, who are saying, you know what? No, we waited around for Republicans to do deals with us under the Obama administration. They didn't do it. We need to move ahead. Honestly, Republicans used these procedures a couple of times under the Trump administration, and they didn't blink twice about doing it without Democratic votes. So that's what he's going to have to balance today.
Jonathan Lemire, what's the view from the White House? Because this is supposed to be a big page turner from the Trump White House to the Biden White House. And one of the things that Joe Biden campaigned on and promised in, you know, on the day that he was elected is that he would be a president for all people, even people who didn't vote for him, and that he would try and bring bipartisanship back to the White House where both sides debated issues. And they went through the process. So the view from the White House on this massive bill is what?
Well, Mika, you're certainly right about that. And my colleagues and I looked at it this weekend. That Biden really framed himself as a candidate, as someone who could bring the parties together, who could sort of take down the temperature of an overheated Washington under Donald Trump. And he certainly, as a senator and as particularly as vice president, would work with Republicans. He was Barack Obama's liaison to the Hill, and it was his dealings with Leader McConnell that really got a lot of things, fiscal cliff and debt negotiations done for that White House. And he has been, indeed, working the phones to senators of both parties, it should be noted, in recent days. And certainly there's also a need to keep some moderate Democrats in line. Manchin, Sinema from West Virginia and Arizona in particular. Look, they absolutely, this is a White House that is trying to prioritize bipartisanship. They would love to have some Republicans on here. But at the same time, they've been sending signals that they're willing to go it alone.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.